Welcome to Little Explorers ABC Edition. What letter will we explore today? Get ready, because here we go! Hi guys, welcome to the ABC edition of Little Explorers. We're going to start exploring a different letter every week. So let's start with the ABC song. Are you ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? What letter do you think we'll do today? Today's letter is S. Sammy Skunk's Super Sniffer by deRubertis. Even when Sammy Skunk was just a little stinker, he had a super sniffer. He liked to help his parents cook squash soup. Sammy would sit on Papa's shoulders and Papa would stir the simmering soup. "Sam, my man, what do you think?" Papa would say. Sammy would sniff and sniff. Sometimes Sammy smiled. Mama and Papa knew what that meant. The soup was good. Sometimes Sammy scrunched up his face. Mama and Papa knew what that meant too. "Oh, Sammykins," Mama would say, "what does the soup need?" Then Sammy would point to something, and Mama would sprinkle it in the pot. Soon Sammy was an honest-to-goodness soup expert. Before Sammy started school, his parents told his teacher all about his super sniffer. "How useful," said his teacher, Alphabetty. At recess on the first day, Sammy put his sniffer to work. "Don't step there," he called out, and he pointed to some inky, stinky mud. "Don't sit there," he cried, and he pointed to some icky, sticky sap. But when it was time for lunch, Sammy's super sniffer caused a problem. Alphabetty led her class to the lunchroom. "Students, I'd like you to meet Susie Horse. Susie is our new school cook. She'll be fixing tasty soups for our lunches." Susie served bowls of soup to everyone. Sammy sniffed his soup. He squinted his eyes, he scrunched up his nose, and he whispered, "Don't eat the soup." Susie Horse was not pleased. "Is there a problem with my soup?" she asked Sammy. "I'm sorry, Susie," Sammy said. He took a small sip of his soup. Then he set down his spoon. "I guess I'm just not hungry," he said. No one else seemed hungry either. Susie scowled. The next day, Susie served a different soup. All the students watched Sammy. He sniffed, he squinted his eyes, he scrunched up his nose, and he tried to swallow a big spoonful of soup. Suddenly, Sammy sneezed a shoe. Soup spurted out of his nose and his mouth. "I'm so sorry, Susie," said Sammy. He wiped up the soupy mess. Susie was silent as a stone, and her face was stormy. Alphabetty tried to explain about Sammy's sniffer. Susie Horse still scowled. "Then let Mr. Sniffer fix the soup," she said. Alphabetty smiled. "Would you like to try, Sammy?" she asked. "Sure," said Sammy, "if it's okay with Susie." Susie's face still looked stormy. "Okay, Mr. Super Sniffer," she said. "Come back tomorrow morning during recess." When Alphabetty took Sammy to the kitchen the next morning, he was shaking in his boots. Susie's face was stormier than ever. "Here's today's soup," Susie said. She pointed to a steaming pot. "What kind of soup is it?" Sammy asked. "It's squash soup," said Susie. "It's made with squash and water." "Oh," said Sammy, "sometimes I help my parents make squash soup. We add lots of stuff to make it super tasty." Susie squinted her eyes. "What sort of stuff?" she asked. "I'll show you," said Sammy. He scooped up carrots, celery, onions, and apples. Susie fussed as she sliced and diced. "Apples in squash soup? I've never heard of such a thing." But Sammy was just getting started. He said, "Shake in some of this and that, sprinkle in some of these and those. Now smush it all together." Susie scowled as she smushed. "This isn't squash soup," she snapped. "This is a big sloppy mess." Sammy took a long, slow sniff, and he smiled, a big smile. "Taste it, Susie," said Sammy. Susie looked disgusted, but she took a tiny sip. She didn't smile, but she didn't scowl either. Then she slurped up a large spoonful. The corners of her mouth twitched, and slowly Susie smiled, a tiny little smile. Morning recess is over, Susie, said Sammy. I'll see you at lunch. Susie stared, then she whispered, Thanks, Sammy. At lunch, Susie served big bowls of squash soup. Everyone's eyes were on Sammy. He sniffed, he tasted, and he smiled a big smile. Today, everyone was hungry. No one talked. The only sound in the lunchroom was slurping. Alpha Betty whispered in Susie's ear, The soup is simply delicious. Susie sat down next to Sammy Skunk. Will you bring your super sniffer to help me tomorrow, Sammy, she asked. Sure, said Sammy. And Susie smiled her biggest smile. Then everyone had a second helping of the best squash soup ever. Even Susie Horse. You have been listening to Sammy Skunk's Super Sniffer by deRubertis. Hi guys, time to grab those new homemade cowbells so we can get to rocking with them. This is one of my favorite songs we've done in story time before. Today I'm going to rock a purple cowbell we already had here at the library, and I'm going to put it down in front of me because we are going to use our hands as part of this song too. So are you ready? This one's called More Cowbells. We have the drums, we have the bass, and we just took the guitar out of the case. It was going so well, and then someone yelled, More cowbells! More cowbells! Now stop. We have the shakers, the tambourine, and the triangle, and everything in between. We started jamming. It was going so well, and then someone yelled, More cowbells! More cowbells! Now it's time for a breakdown. We clap our hands, we stomp our feet, we snap our fingers, and we keep a steady beat. We started jamming together, and it was going so well, and then someone yelled, More cowbells! More cowbells! More cowbells! Give it one last good shake! More cowbells! Great job, guys! My S Sound Box by Jane Moncure. Little S had a box. I will find things that begin with my S sound, he said. I will put them into my sound box. Little S took off his shoes, socks, sweater, and shirt. Did he put his shoes, socks, sweater, shirt into his box? He did. Little S put on his swimsuit and his sandals. He went for a walk on the sand. He found a shovel and a sand pail. He made a sand castle. Then he put the shovel, the sand pail, and the sand castle into his box. Little S went for a swim in the sea. He saw a seal swimming in the sea. He saw 6 more seals on the sand. Did he put the 7 seals into his box? He did. Little S found seashells all over the sand. He also found a starfish. Did he put the seashells and the starfish into his box? He did. Then he saw a shark. It was a small shark. So little S slipped it into a sack. He put the sack into the box. Then little S saw a sea snake. It was a small sea snake. So he slipped the snake into the sack. He put the sack back into the box. Later, little S met a sailor. The sailor gave him a sailor hat. Let's play, said the sailor. They played on the seesaw. They slid down the slide. They swung on the swings. Suddenly, there was a big, noisy sound. The sound was coming from the box. What is in the box? Asked the sailor. Things that begin with my S sound, said little S. I sail on things that begin with your S sound, said the sailor. I sail on a ship, and I sail on a submarine. The sailor helped little S bring his box into the submarine. Little S took his things out of his box. Little S and the sailor drew pictures of the ship, the swing, the slide, and the seesaw. Little S's word list: sack, seal, shovel, sailor, seashell, slide, sailor hat, sea snake, sock, sand, seesaw, starfish, sandal, shark, submarine, sandcastle, ship, sweater, sand pail, shirt, swimsuit, sea, shoe, swing. You have been listening to My S Sound Box by Jane Moncure. Hi guys, this one is called Mr. Sun. Do you have your hands ready to go? All right, we're gonna put them to use. Ready? Mr. Sun, oh Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Oh Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, hiding behind a tree. These little children are asking you to please come out so we can play with you. Oh Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. We're going to try it one more time. Are you ready? Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, hiding behind a tree. These little children are asking you to please come out so we can play with you. Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Give You a Squish by Emily Neilson. Kai gave his mama a big squish. I love giving squishes, he said. The rest of the morning, Kai gave out squishes. He squelched some kelp and squashed a rock and scrunched some buried treasure. He gave his friends a big group squish. Then Kai saw a little puffer fish he wanted to squish. And the puffer fish saw Kai. Squish! Suddenly the fish puffed up like a big water balloon, which is what pufferfish do when they are scared or upset. I do not like to be squished, said the fish. Kai felt terrible. All he had wanted to do was give a friendly squish, but it had gone horribly wrong. The fish had not liked the squish at all. Maybe there is something else you can give besides a squish to show that you want to be friends, said the crab. But what? The friends thought, and they considered, and they pondered, until at last it came to them, a fin bump. The puffer fish was still hiding when Kai swam up. Excuse me, said Kai. I see you don't like squishes. Would you like a fin bump instead? The fish became calm. I like getting fin bumps, said the fish, and I like giving them, said Kai. What about you guys? What do you like? I like to do tail claps, said the dolphin. Me too, said Kai. I like tentacle shakes, said the octopus, so Kai gave him one. Does anybody want a claw pinch, said the crab. Maybe just a little one, said the octopus. That's when Kai realized every fish likes their own kind of squish. Kai went to find his mama to show her what he had learned. He gave her a fin bump and a tail clap and a tentacle shake and even a claw pinch. Thanks, Bubble. What I think I would rather have a squish. Okay, Mama. And Kai gave his mama a great big squish. You have been listening to Can I Give You a Squish by Emily Neilson. Thanks so much for joining us for the Little Explorers ABC edition, letter S. We hope you had a spectacular time with us today. We began our journey with Sammy Skunk's Super Sniffer by Barbara deRubertis, published by Kane Press. Sammy sure used that super sniffer of his to make some great soups, huh? Would you eat any of those soups? And what kind of soup would you make if you had a nose like Sammy, huh? I love that he warned his classmates about what was a good soup and what wasn't. Next, we read My S Sound Box by Jane Moncure and saw all sorts of S words like a seal or sandals and swimsuit. What begins with the letter S that you might have around your house? Look around and see what you can find to stick in your box. Maybe you have a Sarah lying around. Lastly, we read Can I Give You a Squish by Emily Neilson by Dial Books for Young Readers, published by Dial Books for Young Readers. I love that not everybody likes to get a squish in this book, but everybody has their own way of saying hello and being with their friends, right? And the mermaid here got to learn all about that, which I thought was super cool. I hope maybe next time you'll ask how someone wants to be greeted. Well, lastly, we're going to learn how to write the capital letter S and write the small letter S. Are you guys ready? There are a lot alike, so our big one is a partial loop and a second partial loop. And our little one is the same thing, only smaller. Kind of like a snake. Hey, that starts with S. Thanks so much for joining us for the Little Explorers program today. We are going to color in our letter S if you are following along on a letter map at home. I have chosen green for this row, and this will finish off this row for us. How cool is that? Hope you had a stupendous time.